Do you know who my favorite student is, Keegan? It's good old Anne. She gets everything right. All right. Number one. An object starts at rest. I probably would have underlined the phrase at rest. 18 meters, 4 seconds. I'm checking to make sure the units match, Lena. If I saw kilometers per hour, I would stop everything, drop everything, and do a conversion. Or if I saw hours or minutes, I would stop everything and do a conversion. On your test, there's going to be, I think, one question, maybe two, where I don't give you the correct units. I'm not a big fan of giving unit conversions in every question. I did a whole unit on that. The first unit, we did conversions. So I'll throw it at you every so often just to make sure you get the habit of reading units correctly, Nick, but I'm not going to try and trick you. That's not my shtick, okay? It wants me to find A. Well, at rest, what does that rest mean? VI is 0. What's that 18? That's a displacement. What's that 4? That must be time. I'm looking for an equation that has A, VI, D, and T in it. There is one. Jan, which one? Oh, you wasted my time. Why did he waste my time? VI is 0. If he was really clever, he could have... Again, I will not take marks off, but I want you to start noticing the zeros because those make our life easier. You could have just said what? D equals... half AT squared. Okay? You all right with that? All right, I'm going to write that down. D equals, and I usually write it as AT squared over 2. I also know that some of you write it as 0.5 AT squared. I don't care which. Jan, get the A by itself. In fact, this is exactly what we did in yesterday's lab activity. We solved for A. How would you get the A by itself, Jan? What's going to drop down like a domino? Yep, then what? How will you move the t squared over? What's the t squared doing to the a? Yeah, am I going to square root here? No, don't need to get rid of a squared. So, by the way, I'm fighting a bit of a hoarse throat because I taught so much yesterday. If it sounds like I'm mad, I'm not. I just don't have happy voice right now. All I have is this. Sorry. How would I get the t squared by itself? Sorry, how would I get the a by itself? Divide the t squared. What did I do with this 2 that's on the bottom? Good. Tell me exactly what to write then. Here, I'm going to write A equals what? Tell me what to write. I'll give you a hint. There's a D. 2D. Yep. So it's going to be 2 times 18 divided by 4 squared. I think I did that in my head. 2 times 18 is 36 divided by 16. 36 over 16 divided by 4 divided by 4 9 4. Is it 2.25? Yeah. Jan, units, it's an acceleration. Sorry? Or meters per second squared. That's what we're going to say from that. That one we'll say from now on. Okay? MS sounds like Microsoft or something. No, meters per second squared. Jan, I'll let you give yourself 2 out of 2 for that one. If you got that right, 2 out of 2. If you did not, I would give you a half mark if you found the correct equation. Even with the VIT, I'm fine with that. Half mark for getting the A by itself. Half mark for the numbers. And a half mark for the answers. Some people yesterday, because remember yesterday when we were dropping an object, what was VI in our lab? 0. Some people missed that and they got the A by itself. It still works. It just meant they were going 0 times t unnecessarily in their calculations and stuff was calculating. So it still works. Okay. Reed, what does B want me to find? No, A wants me to find acceleration. What does B want me to find? Yep. You have the quiz in front of you? You got it out? Okay. Do I need to relist everything? I think this is the same situation. Time hasn't changed or anything. So knock me out. Which one? Which equation? Okay, I'll live with that, but that means I'm using my answer from A to find an answer. I'm going to hold that for a second. I think if I wanted to use VI, DT, and VF, I think I would use this one. And to get the VF by itself, what's going to drop down like a domino? Yeah. Where is the VF inside the, I'm looking for where that starts with letter B? Last. Outside the brackets. What's the T doing to the bracket? I'll divide. What's the 2 doing to the bracket? I'll times. And that's going to give me VI plus VF. No more bracket. How would I move the VF over? Minus, I think I said how would I move the VF over? I want the VF by itself. I want to minus the VI. That equals VF. That's the equation that I would probably use if I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't using an answer to find an answer. Again, if you used VF equals VI plus AT, if you got A right, you will get B right, and I'm fine with that. I'm going to get VF equals 2 times 18 divided by 4. Oh, VI is 0. I could have ignored that, couldn't I? Oh, I can do this in my head. 9? Yes? And I'll make it look really impressive. I'll go to 3 sig figs. I'll go 9.00. If you didn't, that's fine. Units. Okay. Again, 2 out of 2 for the correct answer. Otherwise, I would give you half mark for that, half mark for that, half mark for the numbers, and a half mark for the answer. What was the equation you suggested, Reed? I might really quickly go VI, well, VI is 0. I might really quickly go 2.25A times T. And do I also get 9? Then I got A right. This is, on this test, this is one of those, you can hand it in early, but if you get a chance, Nick, you can probably, especially for part B's on the written section, find the answer a different way using your answer from part A. And if you get the same answer, then you'll know you got them both right. So there is some ways you can check your answers here. Good. Cool. Keegan, what's A want me to find? In part, yeah. Sorry, number 2. What's that 1.5? What's that 8.6? What's that 4.5? Which equation? I would give you a half mark if I saw that. Get the A by itself. So if I saw that, that would get you 1 full mark if you did go straight to there. And I'm okay if you can go straight to there. Feel free to go straight to there without writing the intermediate step. It's going to be 8.6 minus 1.5 all over 4.5. Do that one in your head. No, that one's yuckier. 8.6 minus 1.5. Of course, brackets around the top, but I don't need brackets around the bottom. You'll get 1.58. Yes? Round it off properly. Units, Keegan. It's an acceleration. Good. Okay, cool. Lena, what's B want me to find? Okay. I could use A, but I think, Lena, there is an equation that has a VI, a VF, a T, and a D. Which one? The one with brackets, yeah? And the nice thing is about that one, the D is already by itself, so winner, winner. D equals bracket VI plus VF times T all over 2. It's going to be 1.5 plus 8.6 times 4.5 all over 2. I think on my calculator, I can get away without putting the whole top in brackets because there's only one thing on the bottom and there's no adding. Is it 22.7? So you might find that you can take certain shortcuts on your specific calculator as you're typing stuff in. That's for you to discover. Units, Lena, it's a displacement. Meters. Here, because we didn't have to get the d by itself, I would give you 1 whole mark for that. Half mark for that. Half mark for the answer. And up here, half mark for the numbers. Half mark for the answer. Okay. Are you all figuring out how I mark? Okay. What if you ever see a question worth 3 marks? What does that mean? It probably means you're going to either have to find something in order to find something, or it means there was 2 trips. You've got to find 2 things. Cool. Zach, what does A want me to find in part 3? What does 3A want me to find? You were zoning out. You're back now? Okay. You think so? By the way, we keep saying distance, and I'm sloppy that way too. We're going to find a displacement. If we get a negative answer, it just means we ended up behind from where we started. Or if we're on a cliff, it means we ended up below from where we started. What's that 24, Zach?
Yeah.
What's VF? How do you know? It's not a car accident. It doesn't say crashed or anything. They're hitting the brakes. The way you know is stopping. Yeah? You all stretched out now? You're good?
Probably not.
Because your comfort's, really important to me. What else did they give me? What's A? Oh, you caught the negative, Zach. I was worried that you wouldn't. Okay? Have I said I like that question? I like that question. I like that question. I like that question. I like that question. On the test, I might be nice and put the negative in front of the 3.8. But I don't have to be, I don't think. Especially if I underline slows down. Which equation, Zach? If you wrote down VF squared equals VI squared plus 2AD, I'll give you a half mark. Can you get the D by itself? I'll give you a hint. D equals. Yes. So it's going to be 24 squared. No, Mr. Dewick. It's going to be 0 squared minus 24 squared all over 2 times negative 3.8. Bracket 0 squared minus 24 squared all over bracket 2 times negative 3.8. Zach, did you get 75 point what? 8? Yes? 2 out of 2. Meters, don't forget units. So I would give you 1 mark if I saw that, or a half mark if you wrote down VF squared equals VI squared plus 2AD, but got the equation wrong after that. Half mark for the numbers, half mark for the answers. Cool. Danica, what's B asking me to find? Which equation? I totally would use VF equals VI plus AT. Get the T by itself. Now, so here's what I'm going to say. From now on, if I ask which equation, you can say VF equals VI plus AT. But if you want to just say, oh, it's going to be T equals VF minus VI right away, I'm good with that if you get the thing that we want by itself on the fly. That's the skill we want to build to. 0 minus 24 divided by negative 3.8. Sorry? I don't think there is a squared. I ain't got no squared. I know you are, but what am I? Now, you could have used maybe... Oh, no, you couldn't use VF squared equals VI squared plus 2AD because there's no T in there, and I'm trying to find time. So that's the one. That's the only equation I can't use. 0 minus 24, close bracket, divided by negative 3.8. Do y'all get 6.32 seconds? Yes? Okay. 1 mark, half mark, half mark. Okay, number 4. Cars travels at 12 meters per second, speeds up uniformly. All that means is we have a constant acceleration. It doesn't mean there's no acceleration. It means there's no changing acceleration. We can't deal with a changing acceleration. A wants me to find the acceleration, not 0. What's that 12? VI? What's that 6? And that 96? Okay. This is really similar to the first question in that I'm going to use the same equation to find A, but VI is not 0. This one is tricky enough, I might just write it out. VIT plus a half AT squared. I want to get the A by itself. Dan, how would I get the A by itself? What's going to drop down, Dan? I totally agree. Then what? Because you actually did this successfully yesterday on your sheet. Minus VIT. Keep going. Divide by 0.5 t squared. That equals A. Dan, are you going to memorize that equation? Do you need to memorize? No, we can derive these. It's going to be 96 minus 12 times 6, all divided by 0.56 squared. Good morning, good morning. We're marking the take-home quiz. You know, I think I did this in my head. 12 times 6 is 72. 96 minus 72 is going to be 26, 20, 24, 48. It's 48 over 36. Divide by, what is 48 over 36, Mr. Duke? Divide by 6. Divide by 6. It's going to be 8 over 6. It's going to be 4 over... Is it 1.3 repeating? Yeah. I can do math in my head. Oh, by the way, I'm showing off because I can do math in my head, but I should tell you, on a quiz or on a test for real, I will do 3 plus 2 on my calculator, not in my head. Because the number of times I've made dumb mistakes in my head, the classic for me is I'll go 3 plus 2 is 6 because I multiplied instead of added or whatever. So on a test or a quiz, like even if it seems 1 plus 1, don't be scared to type it on your calculator to make sure you don't make a silly brain mistake, right? But I can do math in my head. Just saying. So, Brea, get out the take-home quiz. Thank you, thank you. I guess number 4 is asking me to find VF. VF when? How much time? Was it 6 seconds in part A as well? So nothing's changed. I'm not going to relist everything then. I'm just going to go VF equals question mark. You know what? Same equation that we had on the previous page. D equals bracket VI plus VF times T over 2. How did we get the VF by itself? Again, we said the D drops down like a domino. We would divide the T over times the 2. We would not minus the VI here because I would have this. VI plus VF, I would just minus the VI onto the end like this, not inside the fraction. That equals VF. So it's going to be 2 times 96 all over 6 minus 12. Do that one in your head, Mr. Dewick. Sure. It's going to be 96 divided by 3. I can do that in my head. That's going to be 32 minus 12. 20? Yeah. Meters per second. 1 mark. Sorry. Half mark. Half mark. Half mark. Half mark. Okay. Looks like in number 5, they want me to find D. They did say the jet starts at rest, so I know VI is 0. I guess that 84 is VF. A is 3.75. Is the jet speeding up or slowing down? Be obvious here. Speeding up, so is A positive or negative? I thought and checked just to make sure. Which equation? Mud, which equation? 84 squared minus 0 squared, probably could have ignored that, all over 2 times 3.75. 84 squared minus 0 squared divided by 2 times 3.75. Mud, did you get 941? Yep. That seems about right for a runway. Although, again, you'd probably triple that distance just for a safety margin, because this would mean the pilots would have to hit exactly at the beginning and at the end, right? Number 6. Ooh, what's number 6 asking me to find? I see the how fast, a velocity. Which velocity? Because this is a car accident, Zach. What's V final in a car accident always?
0.
That I can assume. So VI equals question mark. I know VF is 0. Looks like I see a D of 42.5. I see a time of 1.6. I think the equation I'm going to use is VI plus VF times T over 2. Now, VF is 0. So if I wanted to, I could cross this out, which makes things easier. I won't, just to walk through the more difficult version so you can see what it's like. Nick, what am I trying to get by itself, Nick? What's going to drop down like a domino? Then what? How will I move the T over? Yep. How will I move the 2 over? And that would give me VI plus VF. How would I move the VF over? That equals VI. The only thing is VF is 0, so I could have skipped that step. But if it wasn't, I could handle it. It's going to be 2 times 42.5 divided by 1.6. It's going to be 2 times 42.5 divided by 1.6. Do y'all get 53.1? And again, half mark, half mark, half mark, half mark. And I think on the previous question, 1 mark, half mark, half mark. Can you give yourself a lovely score out of 20? Now again, if you didn't finish the quiz, don't be filling this in on the fly. You'll have to practice this on the weekend and mark it yourself on the weekend and turn it in next week. If you need to lawyer with me, now is the time.